Let me tell you a story. Some of you recognize the name Jeff Hostetler. Jeff Hostetler is the starting quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. They're now back in Oakland. But he was the quarterback who, I'm here to tell you, the first 4 years he was in the league, he only had 68 passes that he threw in regular season games. At the end of 7 years, he had thrown under 200 passes. That's not exactly a very busy quarterback, because a quarterback generally throws 30 to 50 passes in one game, and after 7 years, 200 passes. He played for the New York Giants. He was the backup to Phil Simms. As most of us know who are football fans, when the New York Giants won that Super Bowl, that World Championship, along the way, I think it was in about the 11th game, Phil Simms went down. And the coach turned over to Jeff Hostetler and he said, "Okay, Jeff, it is your turn." Jeff Hostetler picked up his helmet. He ran out on the field. He led the team to victory in that game, led them to the Super Bowl, led them to the World Championship. Now, what would have happened when the coach said, "It's your turn, Jeff," had he said, "Wait a minute, coach, you got to get ready"? You see, there are a lot of people, maybe if tomorrow when you show up for work, if you're coming to work to say to you, "Okay, it is your turn. We are moving you up," would you be able to say, "I've worked for this all of my life, I'm ready"? Or would you have to say, "Wait a minute, I got to get ready"? What was Jeff Hostetler doing during those 7 years? I can tell you he lifted literally tons and tons of weights, ran thousands of wind sprints, jogged hour after hour developing that endurance. He threw thousands of passes through a moving target or at a moving target. He was at every practice session, every training camp. He was a team player, supportive of his team. He was in on all of the offensive and defensive things. He was learning everything he could. And when the coach said, "It's your turn, Jeff," he was ready. That's what I'm really talking about, getting ready. Since 1989, according to the Wall Street Journal, 15 million new businesses have started. Over half of them by women. They had some things in common. One, they had the great financial need. Two, they had virtually no skills. Three, they had no money. Virtually all of them started what we call a trust business, meaning you give me the money, then I'll do the work, or I will deliver the goods. There have been few, if any, prosecutions of these women who did not deliver the goods. They had a great need for money, maybe because of a divorce, the husband walked out on them, maybe because of the downsizing or whatever, but they had a great need, and instead of saying, "Poor little me," they rolled up their sleeves and said, "Hey, here's an opportunity for me to do something I have always wanted me to do." They had gotten ready for it, is what I am talking about. You know, it is said that when Cicero spoke, the crowds would stand and cheer. When Demosthenes would speak, the crowds stood and marched. When the call comes for you to march toward the opportunity, toward getting the things in life that you really want, will you be ready, or will you have to say, "Wait a minute"? In an earlier session, I showed you a little diagram. I put this overhead, which is inside of your set of tapes, showing what allegedly appears to be the 16 squares. Then I pointed out that there were not 16 squares there, but in reality, when you look at all of them, there are 30 squares. But the reality is, when you really look at all of them and look at what you cannot see, there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of squares in it. It's infinity, really. And I think a lot about people. What you see is not necessarily always what is there. Deep down inside, there is that incredible reserve. Motivate us to pull out and draw it. We've been talking about developing the qualities of success. You've already got the seeds. We now need to develop them. I'm going to conclude this tape by simply sharing with you what I shared with you earlier. And that is, I'm going to share with you what the top really is. This time, you probably wonder why I'm repeating it. This time, I'm putting it in the first person present tense. And when I put my name in it, that's where you want to put your name in it. This comes in your set of tapes, so you will have it there and you can do exactly that. I, Zig Ziglar, am at the top because I understand that failure is an event, not a person. That yesterday ended last night, and today is my brand new day. I'm at the top because I've made friends with my past, am focused on the present, and optimistic about my future. I am at the top because I know that success, a win, doesn't make me, and failure, a loss, doesn't break me. I am at the top because I am filled with faith, hope, and love, and live without anger, greed, guilt, envy, or thoughts of revenge. I, Zig Ziglar, am at the top because I am mature enough to delay gratification and shift my focus from my rights to my responsibilities. I am at the top because I know that failure to stand for what is morally right is the prelude to being the victim of what is criminally wrong. I am at the top because I am secure in who I am, so I am at peace with God and in fellowship with man. I am at the top because I have made friends of my adversaries and have gained the love and respect of those who know me best. I, Zig Ziglar, am at the top because I understand that others can give me pleasure, but genuine happiness comes when I do things for others. I am at the top because I am pleasant to the grouch, courteous to the rude, and generous to the needy. I am at the top because I love the unlovable, give hope to the hopeless, friendship to the friendless, and encouragement to the discouraged. I am at the top because I look back in forgiveness, forward in hope, down in compassion, and up with gratitude. I am at the top because I know that he who would be the greatest among you must become the servant of all. I am at the top because I recognize, confess, develop, and use my God-given physical, mental, and spiritual abilities to the glory of God and for the benefit of mankind. I, Zig Ziglar, will be over the top when I stand in front of the Creator of the universe and He says to me, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." I encourage you to take these one at a time. Make it a weekly objective. Read it, memorize it, keep it in front of you, claim it, and you'll be astonished at what will happen to you, your life, your family, your friends, and the people who know you. By the ideas we've talked about. Follow through on these procedures, because if you do, I can close as I always close all my recordings by saying, you do these things and I will see you, and yes, I really do mean you. Not just at the top, hey, I'm going to see you over the top. Thank you, and God bless you for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Zig Ziglar, and I'm back in the studio. I hope you've enjoyed these first 6 recordings you've been listening to. More importantly, I hope you've already started doing the things we've suggested. I especially hope you're claiming those qualities and following the advice we've given you concerning the card which includes those qualities of success. As a matter of fact, I hope you're following all of the procedures that we've suggested. I also encourage you to do one of 2 things. First, if you complete the How to Stay Motivated series, which includes not only these first 6 recordings, but also include Changing the Picture, which is another 6-tape series, and the Goals program, which follows that, which also is a 6-tape series. I encourage you not only to add those to your library in case you don't already have them, but immediately to start listening to and following each of those with all the other suggestions we make. Now let me say it clearly. If you do not have the other 2 sets, I encourage you to acquire them as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, start listening to this series over and over and over. The reason is very simple. Repetition really is the mother of learning. That makes it the father of action. That really does mean it's the architect of accomplishment. Now, this might seem strange, but benefits will continue to accrue each time you listen, even after you have mastered every single point and procedure and are following all of the suggestions. Now, the reason is threefold. First, you're reminded, and as many people say, we don't need to be told, but we do need to be reminded. Second, as I state in this series, you're energized physiologically every time you listen to these tapes. And third, you're in a growth process. By that I simply mean that you are learning and growing and developing each time you listen to the series. Each time you do this, that moves you to a slightly higher level. And from this higher level, you not only will hear things differently, but you will act on them in a different way. So again, let me say it. Listen over and over and over, because if you do, I can close this first series in the How to Stay Motivated series by saying, do these things, and I really will see you. And yes, I do mean you. At the top.